So everybody who has been, concerned about the Epstein list taking a bit too long to, well, really come out, and the way that they handled that with those binders for the influencers, well, was not a good look. So Donald Trump has come out to say that yes, the Epstein list is coming out rapidly, his own words, and he also wants everybody to, let's say, think that Pam Bondi is still the right pick for Attorney General. And we're going to analyze their body language when he was arriving to the Department of Justice. But right now, what I want you to see is the interview in which Trump himself, like barely minutes ago, he revealed that, yeah, it's going to be released, the Epstein list. It's moving along, and it's moving along pretty rapidly. Let's watch this.
A lot of intrigue surrounding the release of the Epstein files, Martin Luther King files, John F. Kennedy files. Some current and former FBI agents are saying, some of them telling me, that they feel the FBI establishment came out ahead in the standoff sort of with the New York FBI field office over releasing the records, and your Attorney General Pam Bondi demanding them but not getting all that she wanted.
You remember that she said that she had the Epstein files on her desk. Well, paraphrasing her words, I don't know if those were her exact words, but we thought that she had a huge amount of paper because it should be a lot of information with all the logs, with all the emails, with the call logs, with the flight logs, everything. Not to mention the video that they should have in custody. But then we have a nothing burger, and it has been quite embarrassing for the Trump administration. So I think that Trump wanted to set the record straight of what was going on.
Is that process still on track? I think that's one of the most often questions I've been asked the last couple of days, to release these records on Epstein, MLK, and JFK.
Well, Pam Bondi's done a phenomenal job in every respect. And there could have been some holdback. I haven't heard too much about it, but they could. But the bottom line is the records are getting out. The Kennedy records are getting out. Those are the ones I really wanted to see the most, with the Kennedys. And during my administration, as you know, I released a lot of them, but then a lot of people started coming in, people that I respected, people that worked for the administration, asked me not to release the rest. And I respected that.
I remember there was the guy of the fly, right?
They gave me certain reasons, but I respected that. And I did say, I must tell you, I said that probably wish I did release the whole thing, because I have no idea what's in there. But since then they found, and we found, 2,000 more documents on Kennedy.
I have an issue, and the question, of course, focuses on the Epstein files. Well, not only the Epstein files, but the Martin Luther King files and the JFK files. And Trump, makes this stress on the JFK files, in which, okay, we are interested, right? It could be interested. It's like general curiosity after so many years. And the Epstein files are way more urgent, right? Urgent.
And the one they want most is Kennedy, and it's going to be released.
No, we want most is Epstein, the Epstein files.
Moving along, and it's moving along pretty rapidly. It doesn't go that
weeks
rapidly.
Maybe, or longer?
I would say weeks, yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna just to confirm. I want to confirm that she asked for the Epstein files.
The release of the Epstein files, Martin Luther King files, John F. Kennedy files. Some current and former FBI agents are saying, some of them telling me, that they demand.
Okay.
I think that's one of the.
Well, Pam Bondi's done a phenomenal job in every respect.
I just want to review if he said anything directly about the release of the files. Okay, there was some kind of pushback, some kind of challenges, but what about the release?
And there could have been some holdback. I haven't heard too much about it, but they could. But the bottom line is the records are getting out. The Kennedy records.
The records are getting out. He doesn't say explicitly that the Epstein records or the Epstein files are coming out. There was some holdback. He didn't hear much about that. I don't know how to say, but everybody knew that there was a holdback. There's no way that Donald Trump couldn't know that there was a holdback, and the FBI at New York. So. Oh my God! This is we are not seeing the Epstein files, right? And for everybody complaining about Pam Bondi, the Epstein list, you need to listen to Trump here. This is when he was at the Department of Justice talking about in behalf of Pam Bondi. Trump says he's already done it. It's in the hands of his appointees, and that Pam Bondi is so tough they just don't know yet, okay?
You're the people that are doing it. Very, very proud of all of you. Under the Trump administration, the DOJ and the FBI will once again become the premier crime-fighting agencies on the face of the earth.
They shouldn't, will become, they should be already, right now, right? Because you already hired the best of the best. This is the way that it should be said.
People ask me, what am I going to do about law enforcement all the time? The fake news back there, they're asking me that all the time. What am I going to do? And when are you going to do it? And I answer them by saying I've already done most of it by appointing the people that I've appointed. They're sitting right here. They've done most of it. I don't do it, they do it. Right, Pam? I think, oh, you are so tough, they just don't know yet. Let me begin by congratulating the incredible people who will lead these.
So, see, he makes sure to reinforce the fact that picking Pam Bondi and Kash Patel, well, he did the right thing. We're still waiting. I think that the way that they released those first binders was nothing short of embarrassing. But now we have AG Pam Bondi says she's teaming up with FBI Director Kash Patel to search the Epstein files. They're working hard to release info as quickly as possible while protecting sex trafficking victims. This is important because we know that in the files they are still the names of the victims themselves, and they want to know what they can release and what not. But the problem is that all that fanfare with the binders was to release things, highly redacted stuff that had been, everybody knew about them long ago, unredacted. So it was really lame. Not only that, but we see Pam Bondi appearing on TV. Pam Bondi announces an arrest has been made for throwing a Molotov cocktail into a Tesla showroom. They're looking at up to 20 years in prison. If you're going to touch a Tesla, go to a dealership that do anything, you better watch out because we're coming after you. Charge them with terrorism. Okay, this is okay, I guess. I'm gonna mute this part. I'm gonna mute this part. She's talking about that. She's talking about what she's going to do. How she's how strong is she going for this acts of vandalism? But the question remains: this is something bad. Okay, this shouldn't be happening. But do you think that we are expecting things that are a bit more important than firebombs, Cybertruck? Again, nothing should be doing it. I think it's stupid, right? Protesting against Elon Musk, saying that he's a Nazi, and then setting Cybertrucks or private property on fire. Okay, you should go to jail. You 100% have to go to jail. But again, this is let's say this is not what people are expecting for. And I can completely understand. Now, in regards to body language, is that it was that entrance when they were going into the Department of Justice, Donald Trump and Pam Bondi, as Clandestine says, based on the upticks from today at the DOJ, this was 2 days ago, Trump and his team made a conscious effort to make it clear he trusts AG Pam Bondi. He knows what people have been saying online. He knows many are critical of Bondi. Today, he made an effort to show he supports her. So I think that entrance, both of them going, I'm going to play it in slow motion. Both of them going in was very powerful. They had a very powerful body language, the way that they were walking. You know that Trump has that gravitas. Pam Bondi was keeping up with the pace, she being just a bit shorter than him. Was a nice contrast. I found it interesting that she made sure to touch Trump in the arm to call his attention to his own portrait right over the hall, right over the doors in the hall, so he could look at himself. And she wanted to see his reaction. Oh, that is nice. You know, the same Department of Justice that wanted to give him, I don't know, like 500 years or something like that. something that was barely, we could say, even months ago, and now how the tables have turned. But Trump really wanted to make a point about Bondi, not only with the entrance, not only with his words, but it's my, let's say, feeling. I'm gonna say the feeling. It's not my feeling. It's not really my feeling, because when we go back and see his words about the Epstein files in that interview, he doesn't explicitly say the Epstein records. He says the records, and then he begins to talk about the JFK records, like about what he released in his first term and what is he releasing right now, and he doesn't know what's in there. And again, I think it's like going a bit in circles around the actual question. We want to know what is in those Epstein files, and it looks like, when it comes to the deep state, and as Pam Bondi herself has said, that this has national security implications, and the Epstein files will be released, but big asterisk, they're gonna be redacted, okay? And more, we don't know to what extent for national security reasons. I mean, okay, I remember I was interacting with Christine Freba in an X, and she told me, okay, we need to, redact the names of our agents, okay, that they remain incognito, and the victims as well. But I think that it's when they talk about national security, I'm worried that there is this, the deep state of the United States, and there are other countries that might be enmeshed in this, big salad of very dark stuff. And that's why they have to make sure that whatever they release, let's say, maybe doesn't trigger an escalation, doesn't trigger some kind of, I don't know, confrontation with friends over the world. You know that one has to be careful. I don't want to imply anything in here, but again, it's like they promised, like if we were children, that this was going to be released on day one. I think that, okay, now, for example, I speak for myself, now I know that it would have been impossible, because you needed to check everything before releasing that huge chunk of information, especially if you didn't know that you were going to have everything in your desk on day one. So many questions, so many promises that are being, extended over time. And of course, it ends up hitting the credibility of all the Trump administration. Are we going to see the files? Yeah, I believe that eventually we're going to see them. Is that going to be a big reveal? Well, I don't know. By this point, I really don't know what to tell you, but I would like to know, what do you think about this in the comments? Remember to download my 100 body language tips in the description of this video. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the body language guy. Much love and bliss.